What's up, class? So I've mentioned the last couple of videos I'm trying to figure out a clever way to patch up Taffington Boathouse, right? So that video is still in the works because it's been a little bit more of a challenge than I thought it would be. And, you know, I don't like to half-ass things. But anyway, while I work on finishing that up, I mentioned I'd have a fun little trick to show you in the meantime, and that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you a cool way to hang plants from up above so they look like they're in dangling baskets, you know, not just normal hanging planters. It's actually a little more challenging than you'd think, at least the way I'm going to show you how to make it look good. Plus, you'll get to see a little more progress I've made on my Sanctuary Saloon. But before we get to all that, let's take a quick peek at this month's Wall of Fame. As you know, I feature the names of my amazing Patreon supporters each month on this here Wall of Fame, and here is the Student Council this month. Thank you guys so much for your generosity and support for the channel. I'll leave a link in the description below and the iCard above if anyone else wants to become a member of the Student Council. There are some fantastic perks in addition to seeing your name on the Wall of Fame. And if you don't want to leave YouTube and take the time to set up a Patreon account, there's also a join button down below where you can become a member, or a Bitcoin address down in the description if, you know, you're one of the cool kids and you want to make a one-time donation. But it would be so awesome to get some folks on board with Student Council so I can keep bringing you guys awesome build videos and not have to rely on YouTube's, you know, meager ad revenue. And you've probably noticed that I don't advertise my videos, so you don't have to deal with skipping past that minute-long sponsor segments like other YouTubers. That's what my Patreon supporters are for. Okay, well, hop on the school bus and let's head over to Sanctuary for a little horticultural artistry. Okay guys, here we are at my Sanctuary build. There's my greenhouse over there. Got all kinds of little scattered experiments all over Sanctuary, in fact. You know, the settlement is just too large to be able to build everything out without crashing the game, but I do like to use this place to kind of experiment with some interesting things. You've probably seen those spread out throughout my videos. And we have Trash Can Carla and Nick Valentine just hanging out. But let's get to some hanging plants. So we're going to use this little space right here to work with, just because it's the most convenient little area for what we need. And you may see Mama Murphy swing by as well. Oh, there she is. I was going to say, she might swing by and start using that drink machine, you know, because I never made a chair for her. That drink machine is like her favorite thing to mess with now. She's like the only one that uses it too. It's funny. Anyway, so we're going to assemble one particular kind of hanging plant, but I did want to show you another option that's available, and that's this little gem right here. So if we go into workshop mode, I believe bottle lights are in decorations. It's not in lights, it's actually in the decoration section. And it is, I think, down the line here. And we have these little bottle lamps. Now, one of the bottle lamps has a ring on it right here that attaches to ceilings. So it's basically made to look like the bottle lantern is hanging, and we can use that to our advantage. By the way, I think this is from Far Harbor. You can see that little boat icon down there. But if you pillar glitch one of these snake plants in a planter up into place with this bottle lantern, it creates a cool hanging plant concept, you know, which I think has a totally charming little look to it. I think it's best for these smaller snake plants just because the one plant we're going to be using in today's example build is a little too large for this method right here and is best suited for the smaller plants. You may notice the leaves of the plant might stick through the glass a bit. Nevertheless, this is a really cool concept to get a little greenery going on in an indoor space as well as some verticality. It also comes with its own lighting as well, so it could just be part of a futuristic planter concept. You never know. But anyway, let's get started on what we're going to do, and we're going to first head over to the saloon in progress so I can show you what the final product is going to look like. By the way, the reason this is a semi-long video is because, like I said in the intro, it's a little more challenging than you think it would be. But we like a good challenge here on the Skooled Zone, right? So here's the saloon I'm working on. I've made some progress on it since the last time it was featured in a video. Got these automatic doors from the last time, but you know, I updated them to the newer concept. I'll put a link for that in the description below because I think it was from the beginning of one of my Far Harbor videos. It's on a timer, by the way, so it just automatically closes, but it's pretty awesome. And that little projector there, that's supposed to be like the motion sensor and all, but anyway, I've got these stairs here temporarily just to give us easy access up to this little balcony here, and this is the concept we're going for here today. Looks pretty awesome, right? In my humble opinion, at least. I think it hits that perfect hanging plant concept. Although, I wish the stalk wasn't so long. Like, I wish the leaves were a little lower down, but it's the best thing we've got to work with compared to the others in the build menu. Like those twigs and the snake plants and stuff won't look quite as good. Now, if you use mods, there might be some more appropriate plants to use, but this is the idea we're going for. So let's tackle how we would build that. First thing we're going to do is go into build mode, and let's see here. I do believe it's also in decorations. Here we go. So we're going to use this fish basket, which is also from Far Harbor. It's got little fish tails sticking out of it, but we're going to cover that up with one of the conduits so it's barely noticeable. And I'm just going to place that right there. Okay, then we're going to go back into miscellaneous decor and grab one of the plants. And this blue one seems to have longer legs, so to speak, taller stands. So we're going to use these red ones instead, that one. So I'm going to set that right there. And then we're going to get some rugs. I think that's also in decorations. Here we go. What am I doing here? Just getting lost in the menus, don't mind me. All right, now we're probably going to need 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and set down 2. Okay, then I'm going to grab the potted plant, stick it right there, and then let's make sure we can move it real quick. Good, okay. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and superimpose the plant into place right over the basket. We can make some fine-tune adjustments here. Okay, I think that looks good. Now when we pull this out, it should sink down a little bit, or the basket should pop up, one of the two. Let's see what happens. Oh, the plant popped way up. Okay, that didn't happen in my last test. Let's try that again. Maybe I had it over this little crease here or something. Let's go ahead and get another rug. Set it down right there. Okay, that looks good. Let's give it another try. Interesting. Okay, well, how about we try it the other way around? I'm going to pull out the fern, set that right there, move the basket, set the fern right there, and let's try with the basket instead. Always an alternative solution, right? Excuse me. Okay, let's give this a try. There we go. Okay, so basically I just did it in reverse and it popped perfectly into place as we wanted. Okay, now you can stop right here if you want, or we can add a second fern just to kind of double it up, give it that thicker, fuller look, That's what I did with the other one that I showed you a moment ago. So it just depends on how much foliage you want, If you want it to be kind of thick with foliage, you can double up the plants and just kind of orient them in different directions. If you want just one plant or you want to make it easier on yourself, you can just go with that. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use 2. So I'm going to set this one right here. Okay, let's take a look at where the leaves are pointing. They're kind of pointing that way. So in this case, I'm going to want them to point more like that, which means I'm going to need to shift it over a little bit. There we go. All right, people. Okay, now I'm going to kind of see how close those are. I could pull it over a little bit more, so the stalks or stems are kind of joining together. It's pretty close. Let me just make some fine-tune adjustments here. Not bad, that looks pretty good. All right, so at this point, I'm going to exit. Probably a good place for a quick save as well. Okay, so let's remove the rug and see where it pops. And I have an idea if it doesn't go the way that I want. Okay, it does pop up. So I'm going to reload my last save real quick, and I'm going to try an idea. Okay, so I'm going to try something that someone mentioned in the comments of my last video, and we're going to see if it works. It sounded interesting. I don't know if it'll work, but apparently what I'm supposed to do is select the item to move, not the rug, just the item, and then I'm going to turn the camera around, When the rug isn't on the screen, the item should show red, so it can't be placed. And then I'm going to cancel the placement. The item will pop back over onto the rug. And now I might be able to remove the rug without it popping up or moving in a different way. So let's give that a try and see what happens here. I'm going to select the item, turn around, and place where the collision is red. There. It's not facing the rug. I can't place it, and I'm going to cancel. And now when I go back and remove the rug, it's possible it might not shift. Nope, it shifted anyway. Oh well, he said it only works about 8 out of 10 times, so I probably hit that 20%. Or maybe I didn't do it right, I don't know. But I wanted to go ahead and give that a try just because a quick and simple way to prevent rug popping seemed interesting if it actually worked. So anyway, you won't be able to see the planter that much while it's hanging in the air, so I don't think it's that big of a deal, and it did that on my previous test that I've already put in place. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and store this rug, and then we're going to add the conduit so we can simulate the lower hang points like it's hanging. And I'm going to use these small ones. These are really the best for this. They come from the Vault-Tec DLC, and by the way, if you don't see them in your menu, but you do have like the DLC or the Game of the Year edition or something, remember that you have to complete all the little mini tasks with the Vault-Tec DLC before you get to build any stuff in the Vault-Tec menus above ground. So I get that question pretty often. Oh, and real quick, let's just run over here to hit my firework mortar. Get rid of the rain and all that jazz. Okay, now I'm going to get out a pillar. And I can probably just use one of these smaller ones for now. So let's do it out here so I don't group select the other ones. By the way, you may notice in this video that I speed up some of the footage just to keep a brisk pace and not bore you guys with the tedious stuff. But I do like to leave in some of my mistakes or, tricky parts of the building so you get a chance to see how I problem solve them, I'm not a flawless builder and things don't always work perfectly the first time. But you have to remember that part of the joy of building in this game is the process. And at least we have something we can save in the end and show off to friends or family, Just imagine those artists down at the beach that build those elaborate sand mandalas, or sand murals. You know what I'm talking about, right? You ever seen those? They're so elaborate and detailed, and yet they're so impermanent, like gone in a day or two from the wind or the rain. Sure, those guys get tips and a hat and all, but you have to imagine that for them, it's all about the process and honing your skills rather than the end result. More about the journey than the destination. That's the way I think about building in Fallout 4, It's just as much about the journey as the destination. Although, at least with the destination, we can save it and show it off, take screenshots, upload it to forums or whatever, make YouTube videos about it. Okay, so let's take care of this little fishy that's sticking out. Kind of just try to superimpose the conduit right over the fish. That's it. Now I'm going to sink it down as far as I can while it's still possible before it turns red. There we go. Yeah, I barely covered it. Yeah, if I wanted to get a better angle on that, I should have come around to the other side so I can see a little bit better over here. Let's just do it over because, we're here. Okay, let's get a better angle on it this time. That's it. There we go. You want to make sure the conduit is fully inside the basket. No little parts peeking through. That should be good. All right, good enough, good enough. All right, then this one's going to go right about here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add a third conduit. Now, if you just want 2 wires, that's fine. I think most commonly you see these hanging planters with 3 points of contact so that the planter doesn't tip over in real life sideways. All right, and then we're going to find kind of the next best place to put it, and that should be right about here. Good enough. That's it. Okay, now before we move that under the roof right over here, I'm just going to do something that helps us out because this is the hardest part of the task. So I'm going to go back into conduits and I'm going to grab the one that sticks down because we're going to hang it from the edge of the ceiling right here. Now, if this was a completely flat ceiling, then this power conduit would rest flush with the ceiling. But because it's angled, you're going to see there's a little bit of gap above it. But since, you can barely notice it on this side, see, that's why I didn't hang it from the bottom part of this wall, this angled wall here, because I noticed there was a gap. Plus, this gives us the opportunity to have longer wires hanging, which makes it look a little more realistic, Okay, now before we go and grab our ensemble, I'm going to add another conduit right here, and I'm going to attach a wire to the conduit so we can use it as a centering guide. All right, so that looks aligned from this angle, and oh wow, I got it on the first try. The good thing about wires is that they don't really have any collision boundaries, so you can use them as aligning guides for all kinds of things. I showed off that trick in one of my miscellaneous tips videos. I'll put a link for that in the description below in the iCard above. By the way, these stairs are going to be removed, and I'm going to add another glass wall just like this side. Not in this video, I'm just saying that this will eventually be an enclosed balcony. So that way the patrons from the saloon, I don't know if I showed you the inside. Still a work in progress, but that's the stage. There's going to be a bar down over here somewhere. And then this little mezzanine where people can, come up here and watch the band or the singer from up there. So this is the only way to get to the balcony, and this is going to be closed off. So even though the plant's going to sit right in the middle of this section right here, it's going to look just like this side. Actually, in fact, let me try to get a gauge of where to place the next planter so they'll sort of look even. All right, let's see. Let's use a little guide here, might as well. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so one of these filing cabinets is like exactly where the bottom of the basket should be. So just as a little guide, I'm going to set this filing cabinet right here. I don't know if that's going to get in the way. We'll see. Never mind. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set the filing cabinet there, and then I'm going to grab a conduit. See, these are just little tricks, that you can do to help yourself avoid having to reload. If it didn't take so long to reload in Fallout 4, I wouldn't worry about it. But since it does, anything to make things more efficient, right? So I'm going to grab one of these sideways conduits. Yeah, right here. And I'm going to set this here. And I'm going to move. I'm just going to go ahead and store this file cabinet. It did its job. And then I'm just going to slide this down just a fraction. Because the next thing we're going to do to make this work is use the campfire glitch. And in this case, I'm actually going to use the garden plot. This is like the perfect scenario for it because we're not so much in a cramped space and the campfire is going to be a little too small for estimation. Now, normally in tight spaces, the actual campfire is better for ease of the technique. But in this case, we're going to need more room to make adjustments. All right, before I go and pillar glitch this, I'm just going to take a quick rest so we can get back to that early morning sun. BRB. Okay, we're back to a bright sunny day, and I'm just going to go ahead and store these two items just so they don't get group selected with what we're going to do. Now that I've shown you that that's an option. Okay, so let's grab a post, and I'm going to grab a tall post in this case. And this is probably another good place to do a quick save, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Go back into Workshop. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, we're getting to a cloudy day. All right, I'm actually going to set it down right there. Run over here and pop off another clear weather shell. Now, getting back into workshop mode, I'm going to select the post again. And you know what? This is probably the place where you actually want to do the quick save. I did it a little too early just a moment ago. Okay, let's see if we can do this right on the first try. Fingers crossed. Okay, now this is going to be a little difficult just because of the perspective. And you'll notice the garden plot only allows you to technically sink things down along certain parts of the edges. You can't really do it in the middle for some reason, but see how I've got a lot more lateral room here? I wouldn't have had that much range with the regular campfire, so hopefully I can still make this work. Let's try it from over here. All right, that's probably pretty close. Okay, I'm just going to go with my gut and say that's about the right center point. And then I'm just going to raise it up to where it's matching with the level of that conduit to the right there that we post on the wall as our other guide. And I'm just going to go for it. If it's not the right place, we have a quick save that I can reload. But let's go ahead and place it and see what happens. Was I way off? Oh man, I was pretty off there. Jeez. Yeah, like I said, this is the only real hard part of this endeavor, because if I apply the wires now, it's going to look like it's kind of hanging sideways. So let's just do a reload real quick. All right, while it was reloading, I realized that we can actually create some additional guidelines for ourselves. What I'm going to do here is slide this conduit right over here just a little bit, because we know that's the bottom of the basket, but we can also use it as a guide for the wire as well. And I'm going to add another post or something that we can attach the conduit to. Let's see here. Okay, so these are going to snap. Let's see what else I can attach. Well, let's see if the concrete ones snap as well. They don't. Okay, perfect. All right, so what I can do now is I can go into the connectors and grab another one of these. Let's see, these use 2 copper, ceramic, and steel. Let's see what these smaller ones use. These only use 1, so let's just use these. Okay, now I'm going to attach the wire to there, and now I can fine tune it a little. There we go. It's pretty close. We can probably slide this over just a little bit. That might do better. Okay, that did the trick right there. Let's lower this one just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to add one more concrete pillar right here and one right here. Okay, then I'm going to attach the wire over to this one. And then let's see how much we need to raise this up. We do need to raise it up. I don't want to accidentally do the wire glitch here. Okay, see what we're doing? We're creating this little crosshair situation. I don't know how much this is going to help, actually, but it might. You never know. I always say the hardest part of building in this game is the lack of depth perception. Okay, that's probably as good as it's going to get. So hopefully I have enough room here to still use the campfire glitch, or the garden plot glitch in this case. But yeah, that little trick for lining things up is great because, you know, the wires themselves, you can completely pass through and they're not going to be affected by what we're doing here in a moment. So now I'm going to quick save again. Then we'll go back into workshop mode, select the post to refocus, and let's give this a try. I wonder if it'll be easier to do from this side. How about this side? Yeah, those guides really, really help. Now I've just got to get the garden plot to cooperate. I'm going to move the garden plot a little closer. Let's see if this way is a little easier. Yeah, okay, let's give it another try this way. Now, I'll probably be speeding up some of this footage as I mentioned so as not to bore you guys, but I do like leaving this stuff in, you know, not to make the videos longer, but so you guys can see some of the challenges you'll face. And like in my re-roofing croup manner, it's the placement part that's usually the hardest. You know, I don't want to make everything always look super easy, you know, I want everything to look kind of realistic so you know what you're getting into. But those wire guides are actually helping quite a bit because I can see a better perspective now. There we go. Oh, almost. I'll tell you what, now that I know exactly where to place the post for glitching, I'm going to go ahead and swap this out for the campfire because it's smaller, but it's a little more reliable. See, if the garden plot allowed you to sink it down anywhere within its boundaries, then it'd be awesome, but it doesn't. It's very finicky. Perfect. Okay. Now then, well, almost perfect at least. Oh, I had it there. So finicky. Oh boy. Well, I have an idea. I'm going to try something real quick. I've never tried this before, so I'm going to go to the rugs. I'm going to grab a rug and see if I can put the campfire on the rug. Oh, you can. Fun. Okay. So let's see if the campfire glitch still works on a rug. Ah, almost. Goodness gracious. You're messing with me here. There we go. Okay, I did not have this much trouble with the other one. I don't think it has to do with the wires. Could it have to do with the wires? That would be bizarre if it had to do with the wires. All right, I've got a quick save that I can always reload. Let me get rid of the vertical wire here and just see if that's affecting being able to place things in the campfire. You know, just because that lower conduit. Perhaps it was, you know, that little conduit down there could have been getting in the way. Tell you what, I'm going to do a reload and just get rid of just the conduit that's spanning the vertical Z-axis here. Store, campfire. Here, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to get some more rugs. We're just going to go all out. See, I feel like this is some good problem solving here, you know, working that gray matter. These are the kind of things that make the game sort of like a 3D jigsaw puzzle, you know? We're going to need a second rug for this one. Oh, and by the way, that 3D jigsaw puzzle analogy was inspired by a viewer on the channel named Rᴇғᴇʀᴇᴅ. I told her I'd give her a shout out for that, so thanks Rᴇғᴇʀᴅ for the perfectly fitting metaphor there. That should do it. Between these two, I should be able to move it into place, and if I could just get those two cross points, and I think the centering should be pretty easy without that extra axis. Let's quick save. All right. Oh, we almost had it. There we go. Okay, so that is right where we want it to be, right there, but it's red. So let's do some more fine-tune adjusting. Tell you what, I'm going to put this one on a second rug as well. There we go. I'm just going to move that over just a little bit. That's it. Okay, we might have it if I could just... Okay, so I can see the sides there, and I can see the one in the center, and they do look like they're aligned, so I'm just going to go for it as soon as we get blue. Oh, we had it right there. Almost. Come on, sink down a little bit more. Right there. You know what? I think it might be a little too close. Let me just pull back a little bit. There we go. We finally get some blue. I think that's good. Okay, let's see how close we came. Pretty close, I think. That might be good enough. Or at least that's probably as far as I want to mess with it, in this video at least. Sometimes I could be too much of a perfectionist. Okay, so it's lined up that way, and it's lined up pretty close this way. It's probably off by just a little bit, but I don't think it'll look too bad. Let's leave it. So now let's attach these wires, and all you got to do is just select a conduit like that, attach, there we go. Attach, and awesome. Well, it looks great from this angle. It's great from this angle. I bet it's going to be off just a little bit from this angle. Actually, no, not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. That is pretty awesome. Okay, wow. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what it looks like out here. All right, that looks pretty good, Yeah, I'm happy with that. We did it, folks. Yes. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that fun little lesson. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? And join up on my Patreon page for some great perks and to help support more videos like this. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy building, and class dismissed.